welcome to Sarah's Crafty Corner. Tonight I'm going to take you to my local stitch and crochet knitting group. It's called Fremont Stitch and Bitch. So we meet twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at different places. We do have a Facebook group, and tonight we so kindly had one of our members agree to teach us how to do blocking. She's going to be doing acrylic blocking, and she's doing it on a shawl and a scarf. I know for the shawl it's going to be Lion Brand mandala yarn. I'm not sure what it is for the scarf. She also has some examples. She's really brilliant at crocheting and knitting and blocking and doing all these different things. She's done them for a number of years. I've learned a lot from her in the short time that I've been in the group. And she teaches about the fibers and the technique. And if you have questions, she's been one of those ladies you can go to. So enjoy her blocking informational video that we're going to do for you in our group. And if you have any questions, just ask them below, and I'll be sure to answer them, or I'll get Selena to answer them if I don't know the answer. So thanks so much.
And, you know, the stretched out cowl, and before blocking, after just being knit and on the table being blocked. Someone else's shawl being blocked. It's just a triangle shawl. Imagine blocking this, you know, with 6 million pins. A dress that's been knit in, you know, 1,000 little pieces that is being blocked before being put together. And that's that dress. It's just something I saw online, and I thought that would be a real interesting, fun block to do. Again, the campfire shawl that I did for my daughter, that was blocked on my bed. That's her wearing the shawl. And you all have seen my my scarf, or this, and that's her again with the shawl. I have this with me, the mermaid blanket that I made. I made this sweater for her in green. She's never worn it. Although she's the one that brought the picture to me. And please, please, please. My mermaid sitting on my bed, and of course her goofing off in her mermaid tail. But you can all look through this afterwards. It's another blocking piece. It's a cowl. I have just the one in there that was a bad block. This is Jeanette's. She blocked that on her son's bed. It's beautiful. I made this blanket. I blocked it. I did a very light blocking. This is Bob Marley. Bob Marley, when it came to me, all rolled up, curled, and in a less than rectangular shape. And so Bob Marley before you could even see Bob. So sometimes we want to block because we need to show the definition of our stitches. Not everything comes out when we stitch like this, you know. That's a beautiful triangular scarf with the skulls. And then we go back to our friend the lamb, or the goat. Okay, so today we're going to block Yvette's shawl. It's a triangular shawl, so I've changed the orientation of the blocks. And Yvette went ahead. I gave her a little work to do while we were here, waiting on everybody. And that was to just feed the wires through her work. And basically, I don't like to go through stitches if we don't have to, because it might be a little bit of a slip stitch, or your yarn may not be very strong. You don't want to jam through your yarn any more than what you have to. So what I do is basically as Yvette has done here, and I like to put a pin in, kind of hold it in place. And Yvette, I'm still going to need your help.
Okay.
So if you can, stick a pin on the V down here. And you'll see your V in a minute, all the way down. So the V is good. Hold on. You see how that V is coming down? Mm-hmm. Down there. In your fabric. And we have 2 wires here. I'm not going to aggressively, I don't see a need to aggressively block this, but you know, can you move your V over to the center a little bit more? but definitely give it some balance in the blocking process. Balance it out. You can pull it down as much as you can.
This one.
So you can. This is just yarn. It stretches beautifully. And so when we have wires and we're not at the mercy of pins, you get straight edges. When you have pins and you start to block, you've probably seen where you have a square and it's square, and then you're blocking, and then you start pulling on it and you get little U's. Maybe you didn't really need those U's. An unintentional bonus maybe. So when you do this blocking with wires, you can basically just take your wire and move it out as far as you like and open up your work. We have short wires. Yes, you can just do that. Short wires. And again, just go through the outside edges. Never go through your stitches. You don't really need to bust up your stitches. And one pin will take care of that.
Yeah, the wire came out.
So Yvette, if you can work that down there, and those few, and I will.
Can you lengthen these wires? Do they have little, just
No, you just, this is 2 wires.
Okay, you just put, okay, so you just put 2 together.
Yep.
Okay.
Just bring them out. And then you can kind of do a accordion like.
Okay.
You can pull it down as much as you need because I'm going to stick in this other one.
Okay.
And so you see she's got this perfect little stitch here, and then her popcorns at the end of the popcorns. I'm just going to stick it through there. I could have gone just through the popcorn as well.
That's kind of cool.
But, you know.
Yes, Sarah. Yeah, technical.
Yeah, Nancy,
It does not continue live video.
Oh, it's probably done by then.
Yeah,
Kind of spotty.
pretty bad.
Don't have my hotspot.
So if we're looking at this, this is just acrylic. When you are blocking wool or silk fiber, cotton, you can do the same exact thing after it's been washed, wet, block. You would set it this way and leave it. Okay. As I was talking to Sarah earlier, when blocking cotton, it will bounce back. And especially after you wash it, it'll come right back to, and especially when you wash, cotton will actually shrink and take on a shape that it didn't even have when you were stitching it out. It was all pretty and nice and straight, and then all of a sudden you washed it and it turned into a wad. But that's cotton. And there's ways to work with cotton. We have used cotton where fabric softener helps with that. But again, it's still a very elastic thing. So if you're making a quilt, you know, you don't want to naturally starch it. If you're making a doily, if you're making, you know, you've probably seen the swan doilies, or Sarah's made a purse. She wants to be a little stiffer. So heavy, super heavy duty starch will work for her. Maybe even adding a little bit of cornstarch to that will help her to keep that little stiffness to the cotton. But cotton is beautiful, you know, so enjoy the fiber. So this is in essence ready to go. This hasn't been washed. It's straight from being knitted. And all I have in here is water in my iron, and I have it on a linen setting. And so, a little bit about irons. Some people like to use steamers, and those are great for freshening up your work. Things like your shawls, even something like your acrylic shawls. That's great for freshening it up. It gives it bounce to your stitches, a little bit more definition. But typically, unless it's more of a industrial type steamer, it's not going to have that heat element. So steam makes your stitches, makes your fiber bounce, get real crispy and happy, and heat melts it down, beats it down. So the heat on the acrylic, on the plastic fibers, melts it. That's why when you're blocking, you need that, the heat and the steam together, so that otherwise you're just killing it if you only use heat. You never touch your acrylic with your iron unless you intentionally want it to shine and go flat. So, any questions? My favorite iron is a Rolenta. I don't have one at the moment. I mean, I do. I have one at home, but it's just not behaving because I add cold water to it when it's extremely hot, and it doesn't like it. So it leaks on me now. And see, that one I thought was stiff. I'm probably half an inch or less away from the fiber, and if you could touch it, you'd feel that it's very warm. This iron has not had a chance to get super hot. It's been on for a while, but just going over. And when I worked on that Bob Marley that you saw in the slideshow, that one, there was stitch issues. And so when it's hot, you can run your finger over it, not with your iron on it, but you can run your finger over a stitch and adjust it. You just put it just so and then hit it. And then don't touch it. Let it dry. Let it cool down. The cooling process is where the fibers have melted and they're all now happy together. And they're going to live like that until you pull them apart. So this one here, I'm just doing this because to keep these lines straight. She's got really good stitch definition in her work. So this is a very easy block. And that's all we need to do is just basically carry the iron over. I can actually see the stitches kind of bounce. You see how there's a color here and these stitches are plump. These are not as plump. Obviously they're getting steam, but because they've changed their character, that's the time that you can actually go in. So I'll go here. Watch that. Did you see them move? I'll go in another area. Watch the stitch in this area, okay? You see that? The first time I hit it, it just kind of...
I can see the difference. That's how I blocked mine. I was told that wasn't the right way to do it.
What?
That's how I blocked mine before, and someone goes, no, don't do that. But yeah,
Well,
I was doing it okay.
this one here, because it's so big, I blocked it just on my ironing board,
Yeah.
and I had it hanging over. And truthfully, that's a lot harder than setting it and giving it, the shape you want and walking away from it.
Yeah.
On the board, on the ironing board, it was a lot of work, just basically moving it and making sure one side wasn't longer than the other. So acrylic blocking is, to me, the simplest thing. More simple is, of course, a wool or a natural fiber. not cotton, cotton's not. If you're doing something with cotton, it's not easy. You can kind of see the iron, how it's getting close. These other ones will start moving. I feel like I have to work this iron.
Is that your iron BB?
My iron boots too. I haven't figured out why.
But yeah, if I don't like to, I mean, there's little things, and we'll do a simple one in a minute. Sarah has something that just needs to get hit really quick. You don't have to do a lot of setup for that, but I like to set it and block it. You know, setting it this way in the shape that I want, block it, and then letting it be.
So do you normally let it sit until it's completely dry, completely?
It's cold. Yeah. If you feel moisture, that Bob Marley that I did, there was a lot of heat applied to that, and there was a lot of moisture because we steamed it quite a bit.
I just saw that one.
See that? I wasn't touching it. And, you know, it depends on the heat of the iron too. But as you can, if you touch it, you can see what I'm talking about. Go ahead and you can touch that if you want. Let's see, this is where you could actually set the stitches a little differently. Now when you're weaving in ends, I like to weave my ends in. Sometimes if I feel there's like tight areas or what, I'll leave the ends long, but I'll weave it in. And then when I'm done with the blocking, I'll go in and take a really good look at where I've weaved in my ends. Make sure it's to my liking. If I need to hit it again with some heat and steam, I will. And then kind of be done with it.
So can you secure your weaved in ends even more when you're blocking? So
Yeah. Yeah.
Sandy says, beautiful shawl.
thanks, Heather.
What are you streaming? Facebook?
She's in that group. Are you in the group or today's thing?
I'm in the group. My friends don't care about this.
No, I meant the event or the group.
Oh, I think I'm in the fix of the group.
Yeah.
I know if I post it on my
I'm
page,
gonna-
it'd be like, what are you talking about, Sarah?
Block what?
Bubbles. Bubbles a little bit.
Oh, awesome.
See? Why not? I mean, it's we're at a point where we can do it easily.
The Wi-Fi's sexy.
Mhm.
Sexy.
I know, I couldn't.
Handling way better than that.
Oh.
Anyway.
That really makes a big difference. Doesn't it?
And then
Mm-hmm. pop them up.
You
a
can
little
really
bit.
see it with the popcorns, with the puffs. Like
Yep.
you can really.
I'm just twisting them, popping them back up a little bit. Now when she sits on them, you know. That's another story. Can't be there to pop them up for her. She can shake them out. Okay, this is pretty much done.
You can't leave me. I need you.
I expected really big complications.
No,
It just
As
sounds
I
so
said,
official, you know,
so-
blocking. I
well,
have to
it's-
block my work.
and I feel like it's final, right?
Right.
So that's why I said
My
never
husband was
touch
so
your work with your
sad.
iron. But
He's like, no, you go. Just go. I need you to do it.
there's all these baubles here too. So when we take this off, it'll give in just a little bit.
You don't have to let it dry first?
I'm not taking it off the wires just yet. But you can. I mean, if I had aggressively blocked this, I would wait till it's really dry. I mean, just, yeah.
So when you
But-
say aggressively, are you just talking about doing it longer? Are you talking
Yeah,
about turning the
aggressively,
heat up
like when you really
higher?
pull it out and,
Okay.
you know, so what if I had, you know, had this here and pull this out to here, to its maximum stretch. Right.
And when would you want to do that?
If you had lace and, you know, you wanted your lace stitches to really show up, you probably want to do that.
But it'll stay like that. I mean,
Yep.
the shape won't.
Nope, as long as she takes care of it. Now, you know, I blocked my daughter's shawl and I found it on the floor in her room in a pile. And I picked it up and she's like, but it's still a triangular shape. I'm like, yeah, but you know, it's not gonna stay nice and pristine if you keep on treating it this way. She says, I thought you blocked it. And I said, yeah, but yours is a little too, a lot of wool in hers.
For Sarah's, she's doing a scarf. Would you still wire it or just pin it?
Well, it depends on the work. So if you can pull yours out, Sarah. Just pull me these bobbles. And we can see it's already gone. Right?
Is that what the lions are on? The
Oh,
mandala?
yeah.
Because I bought a ton of them on clearance.
Such a pretty
I've been
Isn't
thinking
it?
everything.
I think I bought the other half of what you bought.
So yours is
Because
curling
when I
up.
saw your post, I
There's a couple
went.
things. If you put it down, facing down,
And you know, it's good, but I don't like the quality of the yarn.
and you hit
But I
it.
don't use it for anything that's
That's what I figured. It's like my
You don't
practice
need
yarn.
to stretch yours out any. If you did, then we'd wire it. And
So
but
for
yours
her-
is moving, as all we'll see here. Right.
For this, like, is a big benefit of the blocking to really bring out the stitch work?
I see that it happens even with the acrylic. It really does bring out the stitch work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not touching it with the heat again, but that steam puffs them up, and then you have the heat on top of it that's melting it while it's still puffing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not dramatic, but
No, but
you
I can
see-
tell a difference just even in the
Yeah.
shop.
I was always told never to block acrylic.
Me too. And so
They lied
Selena,
to you.
Okay.
Selena
don't.
told me, I said that to Selena
No,
and she
no,
went,
no,
no,
I-
no, 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 no.
I just like until you guys, I never heard of that because like I never blocked any of my stuff, and now I feel like I should have.
Yeah.
You still can.
Especially some of my pieces that like, I think it might actually help them.
So what I'm doing is just contradicting what the yarn is doing.
Sure. The yarn was trying to go like this and you're saying, nope.
Flatten
No,
out.
this way. What's that material?
Is this acrylic?
Yeah, it's acrylic.
Because you can do the same thing to wool. And silk is really finicky though. I did a scarf that had beautiful silk in it, and I didn't know. And I actually touched it with the iron. It melted.
You're sad.
Yes, I was very sad. But my niece still loved it. She was like, "Can I have it?" I'm like, she's like, "No, I really like it." Yeah, you can have it.
I
And
did
she
that with
wore
one.
it. Hmm?
I did that with something. It was Trillion, I think. I hated it. Oh my god. I hated that stuff. I just finished it and I gave it to someone. I took it with me to my friend's house and I gave it to his roommate. I said, here.
Have a scarf.
Yeah, here you go. We're sitting down at the table and we're being really loud. She comes walking out, no clothes on. I just threw it out. I'm like, here, have a scarf. She's like, no clothes on. I'm like, good Lord, woman. Here.
Yeah, now my scarf is flat. Yay.
Now will it stay?
Yeah, that's
Should.
So if you're talking about treating
It's
it
acrylic.
properly and if it lands in a heap on the floor, can you fix it? Can you go back and block it again?
Yeah,
Or
you can. I mean, it's like anything else, right? Your jeans goes in a heap on the floor. They get all. You can iron them. You can wash them. With my acrylic, I hand wash. I don't mind hand washing things, but even like with blankets, I just did. Just washed one this morning, and it's just I did it on hand wash and put it in a dryer. It's fine. But alone, I don't use other clothes in there with it. Just alone. You know, treat it like you would anything else that you don't want to damage.
so because the heat has, for lack of a better word, melted the acrylic a little bit, like I can now go wash it and it's not gonna go back to how it was though, right? It's still gonna maintain some of the work that we
If you
just
hand
did.
wash it, now if you put it in a machine and you let it go on normal wash and it gets all twisted and crazy and you don't lay it flat.
But if I
it's
wash it
gonna
the way I
learn
normally
that.
would, something like this.
Yeah. The blank, I should have brought that one to show you, but I didn't. But I do have these other ones. And this one, there was no blocking involved on this. This is the mermaid blanket.
Yeah.
Now that's been camping. It hasn't been washed yet. It's been all over the floor. You saw that on the picture, on the slideshow, where
I
my
love
daughter was acting like a clown in
This
there.
is the one you made up, right? Because you didn't like the ones you found?
Right.
Yeah.
You guys saw me working on this?
Mm-hmm.
This is blocked.
It's so pretty.
This is a gentle block. And I have, forget how many skeins, balls I put in here.
Yeah, you used a
lot. And so I was trying to hide all of my stitches, all my connections, right? And so every time I finished a skein, I tried to tie into here, which is really, you know, this piece in here underneath this cast on to the next row. And so then I weaved in here. But if I hadn't blocked it, you could see every one of them. Yeah. My cat likes it. My cat really likes laying on here.
So nice and
My husband is, this is his blanket. He really likes it. He likes to take a nap every once in a great while. When he gets up like at 4 in the morning sometimes, and on the weekends he'll take a nap and he comes looking for his blanket. But the cat enjoys it.
You gotta keep the cat off the blanket.
Thank God he likes the cat.
Yeah.
So that's blocked. It's a gentle block, but it's just what I did here.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then that one I actually did both sides.
I
So
was
this is
just
just a
thinking
little
where
moist. I can feel the moisture when I do this with my hand.
Where it's thicker like that. Like I have a Burnett blanket that It's really, it's that puffy stuff. Do I need to block both?
Yeah, I did that on both sides because, as I said, the weaving of the ends, I didn't want it to be so apparent, and so it kind of kills it a little bit because I got very, very close, and I got it, the iron was really, really hot when I got to that. And so I could see that the stitches were looking a little wimpy, and it's like I just put them up with my fingers and let them be. I did it on top of my bed, so I didn't have to deal with the ironing board, and just let it be. And it is, you can inspect it all you want. And then what else do I have? I didn't do a lot of blocking on my little animals, but when you're doing these make-one stitches, they get, you start to see it. You really see the definition, and then back in here as well. I just took it up and I was like, what the heck, this this blocking thing's working on all this other quality. And it did help. It did help quite a bit. I mean, there's still holes, and I of course blocked the dress because it was rolling ridiculously. I mean, it was like this kind of a thing,
have a hussy bunny.
No, couldn't have that. I mean, she's got a tail to show off back here, but so yeah, I did block her dress, and so you can see. I don't know. I like blocking things. I think. Yeah.
Yay, my
All
favorite.
the bitching we want to do now.
It's a dangerous word.
It's so easy.
I did this too.
I thought it was